Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling, and this is our top 10 series of Count Out. Put your hands up. Count Out. Ooh, Diamond Dallas Day. Oh, I want DDP. I've gone DDP.
DDP, I like DDP. I was going more Ty Dillinger because that literally he just does 10.
Or as it's said in the film that David Arquette is in and DDP is in, if you turn it upside down, it's a vagina. So,
It's true.
Has nothing to do with what we're doing today. Hello! Welcome to Count Out. Whoa.
Just didn't see that coming.
Our first Count Out of 2025. This is our top 10 series, however slightly different to what you'll see on other YouTube. This is our top 10. It might be completely wrong in the general scheme of things, but this is what our top 10 could be from our generation, what we've watched, what we enjoy the most. These are our top 10s. We want to know what your top 10 are, not what they are. We're sick of the. It's always the same numbers, same answers.
There's no objective answer.
No.
It's wrestling, it's fiction.
So what are your favourite Royal Rumble winners? So how are you, how are you judging what you would regard as a favourite winner? Because is it the match? Is it the build afterwards? Is it just a person? How did you acquire your 10?
So most of these, and I'm going to contradict myself in a minute, but most of these I'm going, okay, was I watching at the time? How did I feel when they won? Some of them, because I don't have 10 Rumbles that I was watching that I really like the winner of, so I've had to look back at some past ones and go, was that a logical decision at the time? Was it really good? Did that lead to a good build to Mania? And was it a good moment?
And this is why I like the top 10s, because normally what your answer there sounds like an answer I would give, and how I've judged it is, I like them. I like that they won.
Yeah.
I like it. So genuinely, who knows? So let's go and find out who are our favourite Royal Rumble winners. Starting with number 10. Sam, what is your 10th favourite Royal Rumble winner?
So to contradict my point, Flair 92. So again, in my lifetime, or not in my lifetime, but in my lifetime as a wrestling fan, there have not been enough good winners. Hello 2010s. So I've had to pad it with a few back. But it's I love the 92 Rumble, and it's the most bland opinion ever, but I love the fact that they had Flair win it. You could have easily given it to Hogan again or someone. The fact you had
imagine
Flair
Hogan winning 3.
You know what I mean?
Because that was for the title. That was for the title. That was the first time the Rumble meant something. The 2 times Hogan won, he was the champ.
Yeah, and I think the fact they gave it to a heel who was cowardly, but he still had a really good endurance showing and managed to get through it.
Oh, can we also talk about Bobby Heenan at the same time? Not fair to Flair and all that.
Masterclass. So I think it was a great decision. It was a bold decision, but the right one. It should have been Hogan versus Flair, but that's a whole other pile of
failing in the house show circuits, not selling tickets.
Well,
and stuff.
I don't.
It's more the fact that Hogan still main evented WrestleMania, and we have Savage and Flair.
I know, which on paper on its own is good, but
tear in my eye. This is the greatest moment of my life. Vince hated that promo.
Well, he's an idiot.
He is an idiot, and that's why we don't like him.
Fantastic. But yeah, Flair 92 for me.
It's not on my list.
Really?
Not on my list because not my favourite. More controversially, because if you've ever heard me do another video that I don't know if it's come out yet or not, but we'll find out. Number 10 is Nakamura in 2018.
Hello?
I'm not a massive Nakamura fan, as you know. I'm not a massive fan of people who are mainly kicks and strikes. I don't really care for it. I find it quite boring. I really like the character. Remember, he'd already had a Jinder Mahal SummerSlam, and his character had already taken.
Not canon. We don't.
Had already taken a hit.
No.
But the 2018 Rumble is a fine Rumble. It's fine. It's mediocre at best. But we'd had 7 years of terribleness, and having someone we actually wanted to win was such a good thing. And I was really happy that Nakamura won. And he beat Cena and Reigns, which made us even more happy because we didn't want those two anywhere near it.
And it made him, look very strong.
Low because actually what happened afterwards is just so bad that it actually hurts my feelings towards that Rumble.
It hurt my feelings as well.
I've got Nakamura as my number 10 at 2018. In 9, I don't know why I'm doing it like Bullseye. Does anyone know that reference? I'm not even old enough for that reference. Sam, 9.
So again, back to another video that we did.
I'm going to have to make sure this video comes out first. Yeah. All right, notes to future Sam.
This is more of a damning statement on how few Rumble winners that I like. Vince McMahon,
Oh, God.
1999.
I can tell you it's not on my list.
Yeah, I've already talked about this in another video, so I will refer you to that one.
Give us the cliff notes.
So the cliff notes are: Austin had already won 2 in a row. We knew he was going to main event against Rock anyway. This was a really good way of providing a twist and providing an actual road to WrestleMania for a babyface to actually have to overcome obstacles. If you have Austin win, sure, fine, but then it's like you're just hanging around for 2 months before he faces The Rock. We all know it's going to happen. You gave him a hill to climb, which I think is a great purpose behind it. And Vince was never going to main event WrestleMania.
I would never have put it past him.
Well, true.
I never would have put it past him.
But I actually really like it. I really like it. And it's only on the list because there's so few winners that I actually really like, and it's a damning statement. But it's there. I like it.
My 9 is Cody Rhodes from 2023.
Okay.
First of all, it was nice to see him return. Shouldn't have come at 30. I don't agree that he should have come at 30. I get why, because if Gunther came out at 1 and did an unbelievable performance. I know that they were worried about the Sami Zayn effect, which didn't actually come in at all.
No, they handled it well. It wasn't another Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, it didn't happen at all. Well, they had it first. So Sami Zayn could still come out or whatever. So it was clever.
Oh, this is the one, yes, because Zayn hit Roman with the chair.
Yes, that was the main event.
Yeah, so it's actually really well
Rumble
dealt
didn't
with.
main event that one.
Yeah.
But the reason I like it is because, A, it gave the rocket to Cody finally. It was, no, you are going to main event the Mania. You are the guy. Because he'd obviously had his great match with Seth, but then that was it. Got injured. And I'm glad that they went, no, you are the guy. You're still over. You're still popular. And the last times with Gunther were brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good. Gunther's performance was great. Cody, for me, was a really favourite winner. I was happy. We all thought he was going to win that year. So I was really happy at the time that Cody won. And it was we just had such a bad Rumble the year before. That me and you, I don't even think me and you even watched this Rumble together. I can't remember if we did or not.
I don't think we watched this one.
No, I don't think so. I can't remember. It's so vague now.
Yeah.
But we were so upset about the 2022.
Because
to
we
have
watched that
this.
one together.
So that's why Nakamura and Cody are both low, because I was happy, like almost transactionally, because they had such a bad thing the year before or the time before. So yeah, Cody for me, 2023 is my number 9.
It's not on my list.
Why is it not?
I just felt it was the way it happened, the fact that he was 30, and at the time I really wanted Zayn. I
knew it wasn't going to be Zayn.
I get in hindsight, it was a good decision
call.
because of where Cody's gone, but at the time I was a bit like, he's come back at 30.
Why 30?
Why did the psychology?
I think the
was
worry
all
was
wrong.
if he hadn't have come out before 30, they would have thought it'd been Zayn at 30.
Yeah,
So I think I do believe if you think about it as a booking decision, and you're having Cody win, Cody had to be 30.
I think you can have another big name that you know's inevitably got to come out at 30. You know
No,
what I mean?
everyone knew it was going to be Cody. I think that's the key. If you've not had it, your brain's going to go Zayn. So I actually think the booking was the right call.
I get it. I just think the psychology of Gunther, which is great, being number 1, he's the heel. And Cody's at 30.
Yeah,
and
but you
he's
know
the
what? Because he hadn't done anything yet properly outside of a decent IC run at this point, it hadn't gone to legendary status. I think it was the best thing.
No, I think Gunther doing that was great. I just think then Cody being 30 and fighting.
Yeah, it was weird at the end. Yeah. But
and it was a bit obvious.
Gunther's such a tank that he didn't look like he was tired anyway.
No, of course, and he probably wasn't.
No.
He probably wasn't.
He should have entered the women's and just carried on.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 8, Sam.
So number 8, you alluded to the women's match earlier. I think you'll have this higher.
Okay.
I've gone Becky Lynch 2019.
All right.
I think I was really happy it happened. I think the execution was great. I like a chaotic Rumble. It's like it was who got injured? It was Lana.
Got injured in
And
the match with Rusev and Nakamura early in the night.
Finley, biggest pop of his career, just goes bang.
That's just racism. That is the Irish nepotism. That's Irish nepotism. What power does Finley have?
The power of this. Just go.
What a pop.
What a pop. It was really well done, and it's one of those you just thought, are they going to have Charlotte win it or something, which they did the year after. I really liked it. Everyone was buzzing, and that was one of the right times that you go, no, let's have her win this.
Let's have the right person win.
Yeah, and not have maybe have Charlotte win it and have a road to WrestleMania. No, let's have Becky win it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think it'd be higher on yours.
My number 8 is also a women's Royal Rumble winner. It's actually the most modern one. It's Bayley from 2024.
Yeah.
I like this Rumble.
Yeah.
I actually think this is a really good Rumble. I like the ending. I like the whole final sequence. There's some great stars in there and new stars. Jade's debut is really good. Jordan Grace is in it as well from TNA, which made everyone go, that's the TNA Women's Champion. Have you got to deal with TNA? And then they did, and we got to see other people. Bayley was not a face yet. She was a heel with the Damage Control. Damage Control kind of were not helping her
There's that
in the
really good
match.
story,
Having Bailey get that big win because she hadn't really had it, even though she's had a win at Mania at the time. I was just genuinely really happy for Bailey. She put in such great work over the pandemic. As a heel, she held the pandemic together. I think she and Sasha Banks arguably could be regarded with Drew McIntyre as the MVPs of the COVID era. Thank God those three were around.
Yeah.
They were phenomenal. Bailey's great work with damage control, some really great work, and it got built and built and built. They got Io Sky over, and she wasn't the leader, which is, again, shows you good. We talked about this with factions when we did our Yena. You're meant to get a younger star over, and it did. Too bad Dakota kept getting injured. And that ending, with the Liv getting eliminated, Jade and Tiff, I think, is there as well. It's really good, and I was just really happy at the end of that. And I was like, yes, I'm happy that you have won, and I was just delighted for it. Yeah. So this was, the other two, I were happy because of kind of retrospectively what had happened with the years prior. This was the one of like, yes, this is my first, I am happy you have won.
Yeah, I completely get that. I think the only thing with me is, I think all of your opinions are correct. I just wasn't following as much at that point. Yeah. So it skews it a bit for me because I, at the time, wasn't really following this whole damage control story, which I regret because it was brilliant. Yeah. So it didn't have the same effect for me. I was like, oh, okay, Bailey won, cool. Like, I didn't have that feeling of like, oh, yeah, which is my fault.
And then the match, and the match with Io Sky was great.
Yeah, that's really good match for me.
Excellent personally. Match. Yeah. 7! Sam, what have you got for 7?
I've gone with someone I don't think you'll have, but it's Rey Mysterio 2006.
I can tell you now, Rey Mysterio is not on my list.
No, I don't think you like. For me,
I didn't care for it that much.
Yeah, for me, I love the underdog story. And you know what? I know that you can say, and it's true that he only won it because of Eddie's passing.
It really is. It really is.
But I think that, you know what? That is a great story. There's a reason they did it.
It was the right winner.
Yeah.
It was the right winner.
And it was a wonderful...
I wish it main evented.
Yeah. So.
Middle of the night just killed it. It really did.
Just have Mark Henry and Undertaker.
Well, they had to destroy the ring, didn't they?
You don't have to. They chose to...
Rebuild it.
Yeah, exactly.
Rebuild the ring.
Do that.
Have 3 backstage segments about people picking out their ball for the Rumble.
Which they did.
And rebuild the ring. But whatever.
Regardless, I really loved it, and I think it's more for me. When I was a kid, I would go on YouTube because full Rumble matches would just be on YouTube, not on WWE's channel. You could just watch them.
Yeah, you could find them. Yeah.
And I would go back and like research all this stuff, and I would find the 2006 Rumble, and it's one of my favorite Rumbles.
It's a good Rumble.
And I loved that Ray went and won it against Triple H and Orton in the final 3.
Can we just, on a completely unrelated but related note, give praise to Triple H in that match?
He was great, wasn't he?
He holds that match together because every now and then he just turns to Ray and goes, should we do some wrestling?
Yeah.
And they just wrestle each other in the middle of the ring, and every single person who enters, Triple H is the one who's dealing with them and getting them to do something. He has a phenomenal performance.
Oh, he's fantastic. And
no one ever talks about it.
He's not someone that you would think would be a great number 1.
He was phenomenal.
He was brilliant. He was fantastic.
And it helped Ray.
Really.
It gave a Ray someone to go with the entire time. It was really clever.
And you had like this whole story developing in the Rumble, which, we like story. I think that's a lost art in the Rumbles. They just don't seem to do any wrestling in the middle of the ring. There's no like planned spots. There's just, we're just going to try and eliminate.
Yeah, planned spots is becoming a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and it needs to not be. Maybe that's a Room 101 thing or a Lockbox thing. Do
you want to talk about planned spots? How about my number 7?
Go on.
Really low for you, I assume. Stone Cold Steve Austin from 2001.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going with one of the best, if not the best, Royal Rumbles of all time. I was happy that he won because he come back from injury and all that stuff. It's an amazing Rumble, which is what puts it higher. But in terms of favourite winners, he was the most obvious winner, I think. There was no one else in that match you're going to go, they're going to win. Like, it just wasn't at all. You could argue The Rock.
Yeah, you could have done the same thing that Stone Cold beats Kurt.
Yeah, potentially. But I think everyone knew that Austin was in the match. Austin was going to win. I personally would have had The Rock win, because then Austin Triple H match could have been for the title potentially.
Bit messy. You have to get the belt off Kurt.
Triple H faced Kurt that night.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
so you could have literally done the sideways step, have Triple H do a month reign, and have that amazing match that means something, but it didn't mean anything. And Triple H won it anyway, which is really weird.
It was cool.
I agree, but it didn't lead to anything. It was meant to lead to Triple H turning face later.
It didn't.
Well, he got injured.
Much
But
later.
Stone Cold winning for me was just like quite predictable, particularly when The Rock did get eliminated. Like, oh, Kane's not winning, is he? I was happy that he won. It was a really great Rumble, really great time. But I've never really cared that Austin won. I wouldn't go, he was one of my favourites, because every Rumble he's won, I've actually gone meh, meh, and meh to, because it was just like meh in '97 because of he was a heel and no one cared about him yet. He wasn't over like Rover yet. '98, it was the most predictable winner. It was the most jobbified, jobs. And then his win in 2001 was really predictable to me, unless Rock won. But I like it. At the end of the day, it's a really good Rumble, really entertaining, builds to an amazing WrestleMania. I just didn't care that much for him, Austin winning. Wasn't one of my favourites.
I shall talk about this
I
later.
assume so.
Yeah. So now we move on to number 6.
So what you got?
I've gone. This is a childhood favourite of mine, John Cena 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think on the face of it, you think, oh, John Cena again because he's been pushed to the moon, etc. But it's the return. It's magical. Like that. No one thought, not even the marks of the time, thought John Cena would be able to actually recover and
They cheered.
be in the. It
They
was
cheered.
insane.
Man Squad went mad.
The pop, and it's a 2-stage pop, because you have the bit where he comes through, but half the fans can't see him yet,
Or don't believe it.
or don't, you wouldn't fake out number 30, but like
You
think,
yeah, you would.
well, but like it's that, and then he comes through, and they all go, oh, and it's one of the best moments in wrestling history, and it could be in my Hall of Fame very soon. And the 2008 Royal Rumble is special to me. Like,
It's a good Rumble. It's a really good Rumble.
I watched that Royal Rumble so many. You know, I was talking about I was going on YouTube and watching the old ones. I watched that one so many times. It is a fantastic Royal Rumble. I love the camera angle of that Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
You have the ramp in the background. It's so different.
Well, it's Madison Square Garden, isn't it?
It's brilliant.
I hate the fact that they don't do pay-per-views at Madison Square Garden because they can sell out massive arenas. And sometimes it's not about making the money; it's about making a spectacle. And I do think WWE miss out on that because they can't sell out humongous arenas now and stuff like that. But they definitely should consider a Madison Square Garden pay-per-view show. You could even call it that. Why not just call it the MSG show?
The Garden.
You know, the Garden, and actually have a pay-per-view that is based in the Garden and give the Garden their respect. That's what I would do anyway. But
yeah,
I'm going 10 years in the future. I'm back to 2018 again.
Oh, I thought you said Nakamura again.
It's Asuka in 2018.
That's fair.
She, as much as that Rumble is actually overrated and it's not a very good Rumble, I have never been more happy who they picked to win. Because I was like, going, who's going to have to win the first ever one? Because you want it to be a special person to win the first ever one. And I was like, who are they going to pick? You've got Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. They're going, well, Alexa Bliss is kind of doing something with Nia Jax, but they can't have Nia Jax. And then you've got Becky and Sasha, but they're not really doing it. So it was a bit like, who are you going to go with? Because you can protect Asuka in a Royal Rumble. She's undefeated at the point. You can protect. And they went with the right call. She was the most popular person in that match. She was the most over person. She was the best gimmick. She was just something so interesting. And if you're going to have something that you can remember by, I'm glad that someone like her will be remembered for the rest of time as the winner of the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. And that's why it's so high for me. I really, really enjoyed the Rumble at the time. In retrospect, it's not that good. Yeah. But because it was just, yay, Molly Holly. Yeah. But I'm glad she won. I was so happy. And that's why she's one of my favourite winners.
Yeah, I can go that. I actually should have probably had her lower on mine because she's not on my top 5. Yeah. So I probably should have put her in there ahead of Vince McMahon.
I was going to say, you're not on the list at all, is she?
No, she's not. No, it's all.
She was awesome. I love that.
I think it was good. I think to me, I thought it was kind of an obvious choice at the time. Not that it means it's a bad choice, but with Cody Rhodes 23, it's the obvious choice. It was that I tend not to rank it because it's like, yeah, sure.
Sometimes the obvious choice, like that's why Cody's quite low on mine.
Sometimes the right one.
Cody's low on mine for the obvious choice, and Asuka was kind of the obvious choice, but it wasn't fully clear who they were going to go with because it being the first one, and you were never really sure if Vince McMahon's ever going to get behind foreign stars. And the fact that he had them both win was fascinating to me. But yeah, my number 6 is Asuka. Sam, we move into number 5. What have you got?
Speaking of Japanese Royal Rumble winners from 2018, it's quite a niche, little bracket. Nakamura 2018, just for the feeling it gave me at the time. We've talked about it, so I won't ramble about it too much. It was watching it with my friends and finally watching it and being pleased with the Rumble winner. And you leave
and knowing it was going to go to AJ Styles as well.
Yes,
we all went.
I think I talked about another video when we watched wrestling in a vacuum. Sometimes when you go back and watch it, you underestimate the importance of the feeling that you leave the pay-per-view with. And that made me feel really optimistic and really excited for WrestleMania, which is the Royal Rumble's job.
Yes, that's the point
is
of the
what
Rumble.
it is supposed to do. It is supposed to start the road to WrestleMania, and you're supposed to feel excited, and it did that for me.
Yeah,
and I loved Nakamura at the time, not as much anymore.
Yeah.
But we all wanted the Stars Nakamura match. They built it brilliantly over the year and kept them apart and done it really well.
They had a moment in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah. And that stuff wasn't done in the 2010s. We didn't do long term, we're going to wait and build this thing.
Yeah.
And they did it.
Well, Vince every now and then threw 2 people to see what the crowd's response would be.
Exactly.
That was his gimmick thing to do.
Ultimately, it was built.
It worked, yeah.
So I loved it. It's always a special place in my heart. Yeah.
My number 5 is Edge from 2010.
Yes.
I love this Rumble. It was the last bastion of Royal Rumbles for a long, long time. And we were also so happy that Edge came back. It was a proper surprise. We'd already had a surprise from 2 years earlier, and then he did it again. Did he need to win? Probably not. But we were all happy that he did, because we were all happy that Cena didn't, because we all kind of thought it was going to be Cena again.
Yeah.
We were there going, Cena again? Because once Shawn got eliminated, which is where everyone thought we were going, because Undertaker was the champion, which was a great bit of storyline. It's a great Rumble, which is another reason it always gets pushed up on these favourites. But I just loved watching Edge in that match. I wish he was fitter. I think he literally must have only just been cleared.
Yeah.
Because he clearly hadn't been to the gym yet or anything like that. He clearly is not fit. That's the only thing that I was...
He wasn't fit towards the end of his run anyway.
No, but my point is I really wish that the Rumble had come 2 months later.
Yeah.
So that he could do a proper match, because it felt like The problem I had with the 2010 Royal Rumble is it felt like a lot of things got rushed. And I feel like the Edge... At the end, it feels like we just get through the end, get through the end.
I remember Matt Striker, I didn't understand what it meant as a kid at the time. Matt Striker even pointed out how much Edge was selling in terms of just staying down. And the commentators were like, shut up, man.
Yeah. He's knackered.
Yeah,
he hasn't done it. He's probably not been in the gym once.
Yeah.
Because he was meant to be out for 8 months with an Achilles. And I think that's pretty much how long he was actually out for. It might have been 6 or 7 months. So he's definitely come back pretty much on the bow. Because how much did he actually wrestle between then and Mania anyway? It wasn't a lot.
Not much.
So I was really happy that he won. I was really so happy to see him back. Because at one point we were kind of a bit like, are you going to come back? This is another massive setback. So I was just so happy. And I was happy that he won. I'm your number 4.
So to change the subject, I've gone with Edge 2010.
Oh, we're close. Yeah.
We're very close. This could be higher for me. 2010 Royal Rumble is one of those, I think we've all got that pay-per-view that you remember from your childhood. That's magic. It's that one you loved as a kid. And I had a friend it's hard to believe, a friend in primary school. Yeah, I know. In primary school who was also a wrestling fan. He got me into it. And I never had Sky as a kid. So with wrestling, I would have to literally watch it in the morning. I would watch WWE.com and watch the videos of the matches. That's how I found out Jeff Hardy had left. And I would have to watch the pay-per-views. I would find random, which I still do sometimes now, highlight videos on YouTube of really badly cut, bad quality videos.
They do the thing where they have it for 4 seconds, then cut it again. Because if they have it for 5 seconds, it get picked up by the algorithm and stuff.
So I'd have to do that. And he had taped, my friend at school, he had taped the Royal Rumble 2010 for me, and it was a VHS video.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember I had football.
Do you know what VHS videos are in the comments?
Half of them won't. Terrifying.
Oh my god.
And so I'd gone to my football practice, and I'd literally the entire football practice, because I hadn't had any spoilers. It's kind of what we do now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to watch it when I get home. And I think before I'd gone, I'd watched the first match. I'd watched Christian versus Ezekiel Jackson, and terrible match. And I'd got home and I watched the Royal Rumble. And it's one of the best memories I have, because it's an amazing Royal Rumble. Yeah, it's amazing. And Edge coming out was the first moment I had as a wrestling fan where I was watching something and someone came out and was like, oh, and I had a pop to, like, I was jumping around my living room. My parents were going, what's he doing? Yeah. And I still do it now. And it was magic for me. And the fact he won, I was so excited that he was back. It was brilliant. And it arguably could be higher for me. But I just think, knowing what I know now, it's kind of like, okay, Edge winning. It was a bit of a lackluster feud with Jericho. But to me, at the time, it was everything. Yeah. It was everything. Yeah.
My number 4 is The Undertaker from 2007.
Fair enough.
I love that Rumble. I think it's an excellent Rumble. Yeah. I think it's probably the first star-studded Rumble. Like, when you look at who's at the bottom of the totem pole in that match, it's probably Viscera, but that was mainly for a spot. And then it's like Kenny Dykstra, who's the young up-and-comer, is like probably the next low on the list. You're like, good. And then probably The Miz. And you're like, wow, this is a star-studded Rumble. And the right person won the star-studded Rumble.
Yeah.
The finale between Undertaker and Shawn had never been done before. We'd never had a finale. Like, literally, if you look at all the past final twos, they get done within 2 minutes
Yeah.
maximum. They went for 10, and it was so exciting. So the reason I'm happy is because I cannot go over, and they've tried to redo it again with Sheamus and Jericho did it for ages. Cody and Gunther did a good one, but it feels now you're just doing Undertaker Shawn.
Yes.
Every time you go, you're just doing Undertaker Shawn, and they did it so superbly. It was a 10-minute match.
Mm.
How Shawn had the fitness level, because he'd come in around about 19, 20, something like that thing. I could be a bit like Undertaker was 30, and it was great. And I was so happy the Undertaker won, because for years in SmackDown games, SmackDown versus Raw and all that, they said the Undertaker has never won the Royal Rumble match, and I'm like, yay, Undertaker won the Royal Rumble match.
Plucky underdog.
And then the match with Batista is phenomenal, so they back up that Rumble. I was really excited for him to win, because Undertaker Batista.
Well, it's the fact that I should have put this probably lower on my list. I just felt, for me at the time, I wasn't watching, and it's a bit obvious. Yeah. I have no real emotional attachment to it. But the fact that he has the streak, and now someone with the streak, a champion, has to defend against the streak.
And the streak had just become proper with the last 2 years with Mark Henry and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
So, it was great.
Yeah,
really
loved Undertaker should probably be on my list instead of Vince and Flair.
Yep, mistakes have been made. We're into the bronze medal position. Number 3, Sam.
Stone Cold in 2001.
Ah, yes, I thought.
I don't think enough has been said already about this. I just really love the Rumble. I love the decision, and the fact it leads to the best built in terms of their hype, not in terms of the storyline.
It was the biggest show of all time.
Biggest main event in wrestling history. And I think it was great that Kane came second.
Yes, it was the right decision. Yes.
So I
didn't build on it.
I love it, but it's been talked about enough. I love this. Yeah,
I thought you'd have it high. As I said, I was always like meh to it, sort of thing. Something you mentioned that would come up high, and it's actually come this high. It's number 3 is Becky Lynch in 2019. The first ever great women's Royal Rumble, arguably still probably the best. I have to admit, there've been some good ones actually. Actually, the women's Royal Rumble has actually been quite solid. I wouldn't say there's actually been a bad one yet. I think they've been, the 2020 is probably the one. 22. Ignore me.
Oh, God.
2022 is terrible. But it's still better than the men's 2022.
That's not saying anything.
No, it's not. But still, it's still won. See it that way. But Becky winning, you're absolutely right. It was the right call. Sometimes the obvious winner is the right one. She wasn't in the match, remember? We all, the funny is we had mates. It's the first time me and you ever watched a pay-per-view together, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's our first ever pay-per-view together, and all of it hands out that your other housemates happen to be wrestling fans, which was very handy. So 4 of us watching wrestling. I don't think I'd ever watched wrestling with more than 2 people in my life.
I've never known more than 2 people who like wrestling. Yeah.
And we were doing predictions, if you remember. It's the first time we did a prediction, and I was the only one who predicted Becky, and you were all going, she's taking on Asuka, and I went, she will lose, and she will be in the Rumble match. And then we get to 29, and I think we might have known who the 30th was. I can't recall. I think the 30th. Oh, it's not Jax, no, Carmella.
Because the mixed tag,
and then Carmella does it in the men's.
Is it a mixed tag challenge?
Yeah. So we actually knew, and we were there going, so not going to be any Becky. And I remember our mate going, no Becky then, Sam. And I just watching Lana like a horse that should be put out, they go, this is Becky, this is Becky, this is Becky. And the pop is enormous. Wow, what a pop. She was a mega star.
Oh, it's insane.
Mega
biggest star in wrestling at the time.
COVID came at the wrong time. They could have kept pushing it, and then they put him in a stupid.
She did get pregnant as well, to be fair.
Well, the Lacey Evans story. That was a whole year later, though. The Lacey Evans storyline really didn't help. No. But I absolutely was so delighted that Becky won that match, because it was the right call. We were still worried that she wasn't going to win, that Charlotte was going to win, and all this lot. A lot of you had predicted Charlotte, I think, as well.
We didn't want to.
No, but I was so happy. I was so happy. That's why it's one of my favourites. Yeah. And also, as I said, that Rumble was good.
Was good, yeah.
It was a good Rumble with a surprise winner who wasn't a surprise, but a surprise. Yeah. We're now into our silver medal position. Sam, second place. What are we going with?
You might be surprised. I've gone Cody Rhodes 2024.
It's not on my list.
I loved it because, we all know...
I didn't love it about 2 weeks later.
Yeah. We all know what it led to, which was chaos, but brilliance.
Dwayne!
Damn it, Dwayne. I know. And it all worked out in the end, and we had finished the story.
We Daniel Bryan'd it.
Yes, exactly. We really did. I loved it because of the ending. With him pointing to Roman, it was perfect. And I think a lot of people could have said CM Punk. I think I predicted CM Punk.
You did, yeah.
To win it at the time.
I did too.
Which is great that he didn't, because imagine if he had with the 12
I reckon Punk would have caught an audible.
Probably. And that's
the thing is about the match. Do you want to know why that match didn't go on my list? Is Michael Cole in one of the few shot up. he kept mentioning, is he going to go back to back? Is he going to go back to back? Is he going to go back to back? Over and over. So when you watch the match, you're like, well, Cody's winning then. So literally, I think I might have texted you when you were watching, because you watched it after me, and I went, and you told me about it, and I went, I wanted to change my opinion who was going to win after the third person came in, because they were mentioning Cody Rhodes before they'd even got there. He already rocked him at 20 in the 15th position. So it's not on my list, but I nearly did have it like 10, 9, that sort of region.
I love it because you feel like it's not something they would do. They've never done a back-to-back since, I think it was Austin. I don't think they've done back-to-back.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. So you thought, oh, they're probably just going to do Punk or someone else. And for him to win it the second time was a statement, which was undone.
You are a star.
But you are this, and it was the fact, because we'd built this whole story around Roman. At the time, I was kind of like, oh, I wanted Punk to win. It was the moment for me when I love the fact that Roman and Seth were in the box.
Yes.
And Cody just literally points to him in the crowd and just yells at him. And you're like, it's going to happen.
Roman sells
it brilliant. And I never knew this at the time. Obviously, we didn't. Cody, before that Rumble, was told that he wasn't going to be main eventing. So I almost go and look at that. Was that Cody doing that?
I think
basically
when you watch that YouTube doc, it's Triple H. Triple H went, point at Roman. I'm going to make it
because the fans are going to...
I think Triple H has gone. I reckon Triple H has gone, you aren't main eventing. You aren't main eventing.
Yeah.
You know, I reckon Triple H made it happen.
Yeah.
I really do. When you read between the lines in that terrible documentary that doesn't say anything, and it shows that Rock's not a great bloke.
Narcissist.
Not a great bloke. No, when it comes to the backstage politics stuff. Really but I generally reckon they went, no. You don't win it.
Yeah.
Point at Roman. I get it.
I love it.
Yeah. My silver medal position, modern as well, just as modern as yours, is Drew McIntyre in 2020. Now, I'm going to pause here because Sam hasn't mentioned number 1, and I'm going to take a wild swing that we know where we're going to go.
All I'm going to say is he's on my list.
Sam, your gold medal position is?
Drew McIntyre.
What a rumble that is.
One of my favourite rumbles
I was
ever.
so happy when he won. He's my silver, he's your gold. I was so happy that he won.
It was magical. That entire rumble, I loved the
phenomenal
run and Drew being the one to take him out. It was just...
Drew was not predicted to win that. No one was predicting Drew to win it. No one was backing Drew. The second Brock went over that top rope, everyone went, Drew?
Drew.
Are we going to go with Drew?
It gives me chills even talking about it. Like that moment of, is it the Rock thing he's doing that? Yeah.
Twat.
Does it every entrance?
He does.
Stop it.
Do you not get... Do you still get...
It's turning into a Rock rant, which could be another video, actually. It really should be.
I still love the Rock.
We do, but calm it down. So no, I loved it. It was magical, and it would have been easy for them to do that and then not have him win, but no, commit to it.
Do you know what the thing about the Rumble that has been letting people down? Probably since the start, it's not making a star. It doesn't make any stars, and that comes from two things: you've not built them up properly, or they didn't win the Rumble in the right way. So, like Alberto Del Rio won it. That should be a star-making performance. Sheamus winning it, but it didn't work because you didn't put the booking in with it. They can't just win. That doesn't work. They won't just become a star. By Drew eliminating Brock, and if you remember, he then kept staring down Brock, booking of perfection, and that's what got us all wanting Drew. And then Edge returned, and we still wanted Drew. One of my favourite
moments of wrestling, and you still wanted Drew, and they did it perfectly. They did the classic thing where they use Roman to come second all the time.
Of course.
If you look at it from a kayfabe perspective, Roman has bottled so many final 2 Rumbles. He still goes to WrestleMania.
He is the worst Royal Rumbler of all time.
He's great with pressure. He's had this amazing time. When he gets the final 2 of the Rumble, he bottles it. He gets so shaky. He's like the...
And you got to remember the one he won. he nearly lost.
The Rock basically did it for him. So,
my number 1, Sam, is John Cena from 2008. Because I am now 16. I am now getting jaded. I hated Cena, as you know. By this point, Cena and Orton and to an extent Triple H, I was done. And then 2008 just got worse. And then I was really done. But that moment... as a 16-year-old who's starting to lose the love for the game, I remembered what it was like to be a child all over again. And you can't recreate that. So is he my favourite winner? No, he really isn't my favourite winner. But he is my favourite winner because if you think about the emotion and how I felt, I compare it to Drew, I was so happy for Drew. but I was so elated for the scene thing. They were booing, and I didn't care. They'd gone back to the booing because I didn't want Triple H or Batista to win. But I was like, I was so elated and happy of that moment because it was just something special. It felt like you were part of it, even if you were watching it on TV. You felt you were a part of something.
It's a magical moment, and those you can't buy those.
No.
And
Cena made it happen by being Super Cena and getting back fit. I don't know. You still don't know how he did it.
No, but wrestling is at its best when it makes you feel like a kid again.
Yes.
And you forget all of the extra stuff that we talk about, politics and all that. Ultimately, nonsense. We're just fans of an entertainment product. We shouldn't really care that much about it. Yes, it's interesting, but that's not why we got into wrestling.
No.
We get into it for how
characters and fun and those emotions, those connections. When we watched Kofi win the title at Mania, we hugged because we were happy for a human being and happy for the character of Kofi. And Cena coming back, it was just something. And you said about the double pop because we were all going, how did you do that? And I think it's something they should try and do more often. Is literally say someone is going to be out for 6 months and tell them don't leave the house. You know, I remember ECW Sandman, I can't believe he's going to get referenced here, went blind. And he literally was blind in around like his house and stuff like that so that he could sell that he was blind and then comes out, I'm not blind, blah, blah, blah. I think they could do that more. They really could. But that, to conclude, Drew is probably in reality my number one because I was so happy. But that feeling that Cena gave me that night was just something that I don't think I've ever had again. Really, because it was just something special. So that is our top 10 of favourite Royal Rumble winners. Who are your favourite Royal Rumble? The Royal Rumble. That's what Vince used to say. You said Royal Rumble. Can't talk that, man. He's an awful commentator. Who are your top 10 favourite Royal Rumble winners? Do you agree with us? Do you have any different ones? Do you really think Vince should be in your top 10, Sam?
No, he should be like 12 or 13.
Yeah, Asuka and Undertaker. Forgot about those two?
A little bit.
Yeah. But now forever, you're going to have a picture of Vince McMahon below you and talking on screen. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next time for Count Out. Bye-bye! He's not there now.
Oh, I thought you were going to edit one in.
Oh, I'm gonna edit Vince doing the dancing from like Stand Back, that one.
My facial expression will work very well.
Yes, it will.